Recording in progress.
Okay. I'll call the meeting of the Morrow County Clean Water Consortium to order. And first item of business will be public comment. And I'll quickly read the rules for public comment, which was adopted by the board. Each person wishing to address the board may speak once for a period not to exceed 3 minutes. The board will listen to all viewpoints as neutrally as possible, and these rules will be applied uniformly to everyone. The public comment period is not an opportunity to engage in debate with the board. The board chair may permit responses by elected officials and/or staff, but no response is required during the meeting. Speakers are required to address the board in an orderly manner as directed by the board chair. The board will not tolerate any interruptions or disruptions of meetings. Anyone who disregards the directions of the board chair who is in violation of these rules may be asked to leave the meeting. Anyone who continues violation of these rules, to engage in disruptive behavior after being asked to leave the meeting may be treated as a trespass and reported to law enforcement. No final decision or policies may be adopted during the public comment period. So with that, we'll start off. Is there anyone that would like to, in the room down there, I guess, that would like to make public comment?
Anybody? Okay. Yeah. ¿Me va a poder ayudar a interpretar?
No escuchó, no puedo escuchar.
He's going to make public comment, so if you'll translate for us.
Misunderstood.
And I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes.
3 minutos.
Okay, yo soy uno de las varias personas de los que representan a Boardman.
He's one of the various persons that represent West Glen.
He estado involucrado por más de 4 años en el proceso de los nitratos.
He's been involved with them for about 4 years.
Todos ustedes les pedimos que hicieran la junta a las 6 de favor para que toda la comunidad de West Glen pudiera asistir.
He's asked everyone if we could do the meetings at 6 o'clock so that everybody from West Glen could participate or be involved in the meeting.
Y lo último que tengo es que queremos que por favor nos dediquen un poco de tiempo para la comunidad de West Glen, especialmente para poder entendernos y entenderlos a ustedes también exactamente, que es exactamente lo que ustedes necesitan.
So, cuando dice indica, como quiere decir
que se nos dan un tiempo a nosotros para poder...
¿Le avisan con más tiempo?
No, que si nos regalan un tiempo ellos, que programen algo para la comunidad de West Glen.
Okay, so he is asking that if you guys could permit the West Glen group particular time during the meeting.
Okay, is there anybody else? Is that the end of the comment?
¿Es todo lo que quiere comentar?
Sí.
Oh, and
Okay.
can I get your name for the
¿El nombre,
record?
por favor?
Paulo.
Paulo López.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the room that wants to make a comment?
Go ahead, Kelly.
Kelly Doherty. I just want to make it understood that when we are contacting the people of West Glen, or actually anyone, that we have very factual things to give to them. I think a lot of misinformation has been given out to the folks here, and they're struggling with understanding what we're giving them as it is, but when it's misinformation that we're going to hook to city water, or it's going to be $30, and we're going out and we're putting that out into the community, we need to be very careful of what facts we're providing out there when we contact these folks and in our public meetings. The other thing I want to bring up is, I don't know what this board has done for the contracting part of their board, but I believe it's probably going to be a board decision since you haven't had any bylaws for a contracting board. But I do believe that there's a huge conflict of interest with Mike Lees and Anderson Perry. He is a public officer who has written part of the proposal and also suggested in public meetings that that more, design be done. And so I think that we really need to look at that objectively and make sure that public contracting laws are followed. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the room with a comment? You see anybody, Jared?
Do you have, no? Oh, nope, I think we're good. Anyone
That's
online?
Okay, anybody on Zoom, please raise your hand. Anybody see anybody? Okay, with that, we'll close.
There are some agendas back here if anybody wants.
Is she going to translate
She is translating.
to the people that have them? Thank you. Yeah, okay, yeah, but.
Okay, nobody on Zoom. Okay, then we will move into our business items and first, oh, yeah. Where were we going to introduce our new, oh, okay, no, that's after consent. Our consent agenda, has everybody had a chance, all the board members had a chance to look that over? Are there any of those items you want to pull out for discussion? Nope. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, and thank you, Jared, for the detailed items.
Will that satisfy what you're looking?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Do I?
This is-
do
This is Lisa. I'll second the motion.
Oh, Lisa said, okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. There's some more ayes there to pass it?
Aye.
They're just the two, so we're good. You're great. Yeah.
Okay. Motion carried. Approve the consent agenda. Okay, we'll move into our business items. And A is welcome new board member Jerry Reitman. Jerry, do you have anything you want to address the people on the board?
No, I look forward to learning more. It's going to take me a little bit to catch up with what you've been doing, but I look forward to seeing if we can find real solutions and provide clean drinking water to as many people as possible in some sort of form in which we can replicate and do across the county.
Okay, thank you. And just so everybody knows, Jerry's the elected member of the elected from the port, member of the board, because there's one staff, one elected from the port and the county. So he's that one. So thank you. It's good to have you on board. Okay, approval of invoices for the managing director services. Jared, that's you.
Election of vice chair.
Oh,
We're on business item.
Business item.
okay. All right. Oh, I'm sorry.
So we got one eye tonight. It's okay. You only got one eye tonight.
Yeah,
You
one
guys aren't
item.
going to cut me any slack, are you? That's okay. Okay, election of the vice chair. Do I hear a motion to elect someone as the vice chair?
I'm assuming you don't want to be it because you're grand.
Right off the bat,
Okay. Maybe give you a month or so. Okay.
in a month or two, yeah.
Okay. Lisa, are you interested?
Interested in making a motion?
So
Yeah, yes,
clever.
I am, Tamara. I would like to make a motion to appoint Tamara to be the vice chair.
And I second that.
Okay, well, there you go. Sorry,
All right.
yes, it's okay. I'll do that.
Okay, been moved and seconded to elect Tamara as vice chair. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay. Then we go move on to our managing director report. Jared.
Oh, it's me already. So let me get to my notes really fast.
Read your reports.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. Okay.
Well, a couple of things, and I don't want to steal too much thunder later in the agenda, so that's okay, but, we obviously have a thick, agenda tonight, a lot of different things. One thing, I did, provide all those detailed invoices, as requested, so that took a few minutes, but, another thing, I've been actually spending a couple of months working with a group called International Pure Water. They approached me. And since I have that as an agenda item, I don't want to steal my thunder, but just know that that's kind of as I saw it, as part of my administrative responsibilities. We've had 106 unique visitors since our website went live. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but I just thought I'd share that. I don't know who else wants to know that. Continue to meet and maintain active engagement with our partners and stakeholders, attending lots of different meetings. The one I'd like to highlight at this time would probably be OHA. I spent some significant time kind of reaching out to OHA and finding kind of at least 5, 6 different people in their different capacities of OHA and the Lukwama and Morrow County Health, and how they are or are not supporting. Well, I mean, they are all definitely supporting the water, but it was interesting because almost all of them uniquely said that normally this is not what OHA does, but because of the declared emergency back in 22, that's why if you get a declaration of emergency, it means that agencies and other groups and individuals get assigned tasks that they don't normally take care of. So, but again, that has been helpful, especially as I've worked towards looking for other solutions beyond just the municipal solution. The municipal solution is one we've talked a lot about, and we'll be talking about again later tonight, but it doesn't mean I'm only focused on that. I'm looking for all different types of ways to provide water, to clean drinking water to people throughout unincorporated Morrow County. So they have been helpful because they've helped me understand how the water delivery system is working, as well as the qualifications and the testing and their dashboard, as well as the contracted plumbers who are helping with the under sink units and the qualifications, just all the details around that. It's been helpful for me to get caught up to speed on that, and it honestly just enters layers and layers of complexity to this problem, and a lot of, I guess, good intentions that or trials that have come back as not so great, but again, it's been helpful. Continue to look for funding solutions beyond just public funds as well. One thing I can say is we have had the supplemental environmental project funds, those SEP funds. We finalized, well, I don't know if finalize the transfer is the right word, but there was so many different steps to make that happen. And with Kevin's help, we were able to at least get to the next point that we need to get those funds. There is no new update on our federal community initiated project requests. So the 2 that we have, but at this point, no news is good news. So they're still potentially working their way through. As you know, the House is on vacation already, and the Senate is focused on a couple of things that have nothing to do with us. So, so again, as we hear more, I'll let you know more. So I will just note one more time that if the legislature does not actually approve a new appropriations budget, if they just do a continuation, which they've been doing a lot, then the project ultimately goes nowhere. You need a new appropriations bill, not just a continuation to prevent closure. So anyway, that's just big picture there. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit more in our agenda today about the RFQ. And so then, yeah, that's really just our next project. Let's see. Oh, and again, another agenda item here too, which we'll see, just the question around in city residents with wells, and contaminated wells. And so, we'll talk a little bit more about that, later in the agenda. So that's my report.
Okay, does anybody have any questions, Jared, on this report?
No?
Nope. Okay, thank you very much for that. Next up will be our financial report. Kevin.
Good afternoon. So for those that don't know in the room, I'm Kevin Ince. I'm the Morrow County Finance Director, and we provide services as fiscal agent under contract with the Morrow County Clean Water Consortium. Just to add to Jared's comments on the grant from the SCP funds from OHA, had a few administrative hurdles to jump through. We had to register with the state of Oregon as a vendor in order to receive that award, and we've completed that process yesterday. So hopefully the path is clear to go ahead and receive that award and funding. I've provided in the packet, Jared provided in the packet, I provided Jared financial reports for fourth quarter and year to date through fiscal year 2026, which ended June 30, 2026. Looking at the revenue and expense report, the consortium began the fiscal year out with just over $895,000 in beginning fund balance. Added to that about 1.52 million in total revenue. That was primarily from shared revenues through the CREZ distributions and sponsored contributions from the Port of Morrow and Morrow County, with $81,655 in expenditures. The ending fund balance for fiscal 2026 is $2,333,636.93. Also included in the packet is a attachment titled MCCWC funding source detail. And that is a breakdown of the transactions for the year, both revenues and expenditures, by funding source. And one note I want to make on that, we did receive a letter from CREZ 2 authorizing the use of 20% of the $400,000 that was received in fiscal 26 as unrestricted to support the operations of the water consortium. That's not reflected in those balances. I'll update the accounting on that, and we'll have that in the next financial report. So you'll see the net fund available in unrestricted increase by $80,000, and the CREZ 2 capital restricted decreased by $80,000.
Okay.
Any questions on the financial statements?
I just have a quick question. The 500 and some thousand SEP money will reflect next report. Is it different?
Oh, once we actually receive the funds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll record it and we reflect it in those financials.
Okay, good.
That
happen.
I would make a recommendation to the board, since this is the end of the year financial statement. We need to do a filing of an in lieu of audit report with the Secretary of State. It may be appropriate to consider a board action to accept the financial reports and authorize me to file those.
Okay. Any other questions of Kevin?
I have one more
Oh, okay.
topic. So one other outstanding item that we had is a authorization to invest, and we talked a little bit about this a few months ago, with over $2.3 million in the county treasury. Certainly would benefit the consortium to be generating some interest revenue. The fiscal agent agreement with the county already provides the authorization for the county treasurer to invest those funds. And there's two options. One of those is in the standard local government investment pool account. And the other option would be in the pooled investments where the majority of the county's funds are invested. And that's a managed investment account managed by a government portfolio analyst. And I have Jaylene Papino, county treasurer here. She works closely with those investment advisors and does that investing to answer any questions and provide any additional information on those two options. But we would like to hopefully get a direction so that we can start getting some interest revenue allocated to these funds.
Okay.
Do you have a recommendation?
Yeah.
And do you have a staff recommendation?
My recommendation would be to utilize the pooled investments that the county uses that's managed by government portfolio analysts. Jaylene, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I don't. I do have GPA just in case you had specific questions for management.
Hi, you guys. My name's Samantha Woodring. I'm just going to introduce myself real quick. I work with Government Portfolio Advisors, and we have been working with the county very proudly for a while now. And so my perspective on this, if you're feeling kind of questionable about it, is the more information we have, the more we can make sure that the pool is taking into account what you guys need. So normally the way we have our running and working with Jaylene to run your pool is making sure that there is plenty of liquidity involved. But also we're able to go out and maximize investments. Right now, what that's looking like is with all the variability that we are seeing in the markets, what that has kind of brought about in terms of potential is even if it's just short-term investments, we're now starting to gain more than what the LGIP would allow for us to just gain. And so even if you guys have a timeline that you know you need these funds by, if we have an idea of that, we can take that into account when investing it into the pool to make sure that those funds and what you need is available when you need it without causing strain to any other participants in the pool, but also maximizing your guys' usage from the pool. Do you guys have any questions kind of about what I mentioned so far?
So how much does the county have in this pool? It's a lot, right?
In the state
GPA.
pool,
Yeah,
we have, or roughly right now, because 25,
right.
and then outside of that, I'm 50.
Like 50 million, I think.
50 you have in this other fund then, right? I mean, and there's a bit of a yield difference.
Usually.
Yeah.
But you can lock in further out with when you go with the pooled. With your LGIP, it falls pretty closely with your federal rates. So, I mean, it does drag a little bit as far as the changes, whether it's up or down, but it stays pretty close.
All right, so you're getting treasury rates then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the only question would be timing of money, right, for need.
And like Samantha said, you know, they've been really great of laddering things out so that if we have a project coming up, we know you want to spend a larger chunk, we can plan the investment so that it's maturing in time to pull it for those functions.
Right.
And if we don't plan perfectly, that's okay too, because we make sure that there is a regular cadence going on with the pool as a whole. So that no matter what, even if we're off, it's okay because we have a maturity in the month still. We still have funds we can use because it is a pool. Things work together and all balance out really well. So an idea is great, but it's not something that has to be nailed down to perfection. It just makes sure, again, that we're supporting the full pool.
You know, was it, Kevin, was it mentioned what percentage of of our available is going to be in the pool? Did I miss that, or what do you
I
see?
think well, are you, Chair, are you asking the currently regarding the county's funds or what?
No, what you're thinking of, not the county funds.
The consortium total?
Well,
Yeah,
what
He's wanting to
percentage?
know how much you're gonna hold
Okay,
us with.
so, well, because all the funds are pooled, we don't, they would get a pro rata portion. I'd have to look and see what percentage relative to the rest of the funds are that are participating in that pool. And essentially all of the funds would be in the pool, but liquidity is, a primary concern to make sure that we have funds to pay the bills. But being in a larger pool gives us significant flexibility.
Yeah, and gives you more return. I get it.
Yeah.
And part of the county's pool is also invested with the state pool, so it's kind of doing that balance itself too, that there is that portion of it that is very liquid and is with the state. And so you'd be pretty much split based off of your portion of the contribution, just like how the pool is splitting it up between the state pool and investments.
So are you asking us then to basically authorize you to invest in between those two
Well,
pools?
usually it's either you only want your funds invested within the state pool,
Right,
or you want the treasurer to invest your money fully. So there are
Under our
entities
managed
that only
services with
want it.
GPA.
right. Through your managed services with GP.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you, Samantha.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
So Chair,
Kevin?
I think we have two asks from Kevin.
yeah, we have two.
Okay.
Valerie, well, Kevin, do you want to spell out your two suggested motions, or?
Yeah, the first was a recommendation to, if the board is in favor of it, to a motion to accept the financial reports for fiscal year 2026 and authorize me to file the required reports in lieu of audit with the Oregon Secretary of State.
Okay, let's do that one.
I would make that motion.
Okay, do
I'll
I hear a
second
second? Okay, been moved in second, and any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. And then your second one is the pool. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the second would be a motion to make a determination on how the investments should be handled for the funds of the Water Consortium, whether that be solely in the local government investment pool through the state or under the managed pool, or under the pool that's managed by GPA.
And again, your recommendation was the local government pool?
No, it was the GPA.
Oh, it's GPA. Okay.
Okay, that should
You're
be
the
what.
finance guy, Jerry.
What's that?
You're the finance guy, so yeah.
Well, I would move that we authorize the investment into the GPA funds or for the consortium funds, keeping in mind liquidity needs.
I'll second that.
I'll second.
They moved
Give
in
it to me.
second. Any
Give it
further
away.
discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank
Chair,
you.
I have one more, just one more reminder / comment.
Okay,
So expenditures for fiscal 26 were just shy of about $90,000. Once we pass the $250,000 threshold, which I think we were expected to potentially do in fiscal 27, the nature of the financial audit requirements changes, and we can no longer just have me file a report in lieu of audit. We need to complete an AUP, which is an agreed upon audit procedure, and for that we would need to contract with a municipal audit firm. And given that there's not a lot of them around, and there's a lot of RFPs or RFQs that are going unanswered or without a lot of responses. So I would just want to keep that on the board's top of mind before we get too far into the fiscal year.
Okay. Are you keeping your eye open and asking around for possible?
Me or
No,
Kevin?
Yeah, both of you.
Yeah, I can. That's a new world for me, but I could definitely.
Well, I know, just get somebody lined up though.
Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of the board. So I'm, if that's something that you desire me to do, certainly give the direction, and whether you would want to direct negotiate and contract, or if you'd want to issue a request for qualifications, and go through a competitive process. I'd be happy to accommodate whatever the board wants to do.
Okay, but the way I understood it, we're going to have to go down that path. It's just how we get through it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's long if we start a project, which is our intention, then we will definitely hit that 250,000 mark.
Right.
So optimistically, I would say, yeah, we need to go out for an RFQ.
And what's the deadline on that, Kevin? When do we have to get that going or so?
I would say that you want to have that lined up by probably January, February, ideally. That's when most firms are scheduling their interim or their preliminary field work. This is pretty light audit for this entity at this point in time. That could get more complex. But I think if you had a selection by February timeframe at the latest, you'd probably be in pretty good shape.
Okay.
Well, it feels to me like something that maybe our director and finance could bring us back a proposal of how we want us to proceed, maybe at our next meeting.
So just get a motion to direct the director to.
You need a motion for that?
No, not necessarily.
I think you guys
If
can
Kevin's
bring us
happy with
something.
it, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We have a consensus, I would think. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other things you want to bring up, Kevin?
No, that's all. Thanks.
Okay. Next up is our RFQ for Boardman Phase 1, West Glen area. Jared, that's you.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. So we did have two firms who submitted statements of qualifications with their fee sheets. And so at this time, you are the board, and we don't really have another board. So we will need to score those and make a determination tonight on which firm we would potentially contract with. So those of you online, you have the score sheet in the packet itself.
Thank you.
It's honestly pretty straightforward, but if there's any questions, and then of course we have the SOQs within the packet as well. The first one being Anderson Perry, and the second firm is Ridge Line. So
Are we gonna do this as a group?
that's what I was gonna ask you guys, how you wanted to proceed. So if you want to do this individually, or do you want to do this just as a group? We need to score them officially to make the decision, but it can be quick. So if you've had time to review their SOQs, so.
And a budget was not, like a projected budget was not in the RFP.
No, we just have the fee schedule, and we do know that based on the numbers for we're looking at about between $500,000 to $1 million budget for this engineering project. That could increase if we also then ask them to do project management.
Yeah, this would just be design.
Yep, this is just design.
Design to bidding.
Mhm.
Can I ask, what is exactly being contracted?
This is for the, we're calling it the Boardman Phase 1 project. Yes,
Question, Tamara, you can help. Is this part of GSI's phase 1 area that they put in on your?
the language is not intended to be
At least
confusing.
the map.
It is part of it, yes.
They can see the map.
It's West Glen, but it's greater than the West Glen area. So that's another way to think of it. It's the greater West Glen area, but it's about a little less than half the size of the, and Aaron's referring to the
Study area.
drinking water project, the study area in the, what they call it, the drinking water roadmap project, the Boardman project, and the phase 1 project. And there's actually several phases, but this is a portion of that. The reason we want to get away from the name West Glen is because it actually is greater than West Glen, and it starts to create some confusion around UGB and not UGB and some other things. We want to engineer the whole thing so that we can make decisions one way or another.
And that's why I brought it up, so
Yeah.
that public people can see, have a visual, because most of them have seen the water pathway. So if it's hypothetically 3/4 of that phase 1.
Yeah,
That-
hypothetically, I want to
that-
say it's probably about half of that project.
Right, so that it gives a delineation that everybody can see what it is, and I think that's smarter, but I don't know if even the board has that in the framework. That's what I pointed
Yeah,
out.
I've got about 130 homes on a kind of a Google map, if you will, that we've given the engineers to look at. So, but it includes areas both south of the canal and west of Paul Smith Road, which would put them outside of the UGB. And therefore technically outside of West Glen, so.
So it's the design of the pipe and the facility to deliver clean drinking water?
Yes, this is to,
Okay,
it's a municipal connection.
okay.
So the idea being that they would design getting it from Boardman somewhere and then getting it to that area, and then all the pipes that go, the pipes, the meters, the everything, not only at the street, but also connecting all the way to the house.
How many linear feet is that?
Oh, I don't know.
In your boat?
And there was about 70 homes in the West Glen, from what I remember. So it's almost double.
Correct.
Okay.
This project, anywhere from about 100 to 130, it's not always easy to try to determine how many homes are on a lot and things like that when you're now outside of the city limits. So, but we did our best, the information we had. And again, this is not to suggest that all of those will ultimately end up with a connection. This is just the design so that we have the information to then proceed. What will those costs be? Do we need to raise more funds to cover a potential project? Obviously the residents themselves will have to agree to that. So, there's still a lot of other check marks that need to happen. This is just about getting the next step, the actual design, so that we can move forward with actual estimated costs.
And there was already a budget for that to do this, right? But on a smaller level, is this just an expanded?
Well, so the Myers study provided kind of a 10,000-foot view. That's kind of what initiated some of these things. But a lot has changed since that Myers study, and it was only looking at about 10% of the information it needed to make an actual guess. And then we have some funding from the state allocated to pay for the equivalent of that project. However, we need an actual engineering design to determine what the cost will actually be. And you need to have a design before you can even go out for an RFP. Right. So this is just the logical next step. to get additional information. It does not suggest that the project will actually happen.
Yeah.
We also, just a note, we have money that is specifically earmarked, meaning by the state for a project in this area.
Right.
So even if we decide not to move forward, or there's not enough people who want to sign up to make it worth it, or Boardman doesn't want to sell, any of the number of things that can happen, that money is either use it or lose it. So we will still be money well spent because it's allocated for it.
Right, and either you get it spent or.
Yep, either we get it spent or we don't get it.
Don't get the money.
Question, is this, you got two vendors, two consultants, is it lump sum or linear fee? I mean, T&M, time and material. What did they say?
Those are technical questions. I don't know.
Well, they didn't, that's why I asked if there was a.
So if they're doing a fee schedule.
They're doing a fee schedule as the approach.
So probably time.
It's gonna be time and material, yeah.
Which means is the ultimate figure they gave is not gonna be accurate. You just need to be aware.
They
of that.
literally didn't give a figure.
They didn't give a
No,
figure.
they didn't give a figure. I think it's
This is our own
if we were to approve one of these, then we still have to negotiate a contract, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is taking the two bidders and choosing a preference and then seeing whether we could get to the
It's
finish
not
line.
low because I'll guarantee you.
No, I understand.
It's gonna go up.
Yeah, in both of these, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question before we start talking specifics. In the Anderson and Perry proposal, Mike Lees indicated he helped design the scope. Is that a contractual legal conflict?
I would doubt it.
I don't think so. The reason being is, it's two separate projects. It'd be, he was paid to do scope work for something else. And it just so happens that he's there.
Well, he said
So.
unless I misunderstood, it was providing the scope for this RFP.
Ooh.
That's what it says.
Well, the city of Boardman provided the scope for this RFP.
And that was him.
And they contract with Anderson Perry, correct?
Just based on other procurement work I've done, that might raise a conflict. I
And
don't
so
know.
we could we'll definitely ask our attorney for that, but.
Kevin have any thoughts about that? He does a lot more procurement than me.
I recommend consulting with the consortium's legal counsel.
Yes, right, yeah,
And is it because it's Mike Lee or because it's Anderson Perry?
both.
I think it'd be one and the same, right?
Yeah, no, that's one.
He's also a public employee, public official.
I don't think that
Potential
would matter.
conflict is because they developed the scope. that
Yeah.
they're ultimately bidding
So the way it's been explained to me is that you need to create that separation because it may have provided an advantage compared to
From
another.
my experience, as city manager, it is a definite conflict.
Okay,
And, I would say you would choose the other one, unless it's more money, I wouldn't, or get another one. Because there's a conflict, because AP is not designated as the consortium.
Yeah, the consortium didn't, before you start, have them as your on
Yeah.
staff, engineer, like a city does, right? And
Or a county does.
and a county does or a city does, and then they're able to use those engineers to do scopes and go back out and everything, yeah. Whereas we didn't have someone, right? Right.
so your recommendation is to disqualify them?
I would. You can go pay money for an attorney, but I guarantee you the attorney's gonna say, you wanna go there? I don't know what the dollar amount is, I can't remember, but caution, I would always err.
Which is why I raised the issue. Yeah.
Not that I don't like Mike
Oh, yeah,
or AP, I just
right,
caution.
that's right, yeah. So where do we go from, and was the expectation that we would make a recommendation tonight?
Yes. Or have another meeting. To make, it just puts us another month
Month out.
a month out.
Yeah, yeah. It's too bad because they're both really good proposals.
Right. Right.
Well, and the issue is if we do select AMP, there's probably a good solid legal case for the other developers.
Right.
Or to,
Well, they would be able to protest the
Mhm.
process.
Mhm.
especially since we just discussed it.
Yes. Did not keep my mouth shut.
No, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Just saying that.
Yeah. So how do we proceed?
Hey, Dave,
Yeah.
so what are your thoughts?
Well, it's tough for me. I mean, because I defer to, like you, Jerry, and Lisa and Tamara, you have way more experience on dealing with these kind of things, I mean, I'm inclined to, I was until somebody said about, we talked about it, but just to go to eliminate Anderson Perry and go with the other one. That's my inclination. If there's doubts, and we're not sure, and to keep the project moving, not, that's my thought. But like I said, there's the people that I just named have a lot more experience in this over the years on projects and history than I do.
I don't whatever. I mean, we could, again, I suppose the options are to get legal counsel.
As to whether there's a conflict.
Yes, unless you're happy with just going with the other one anyway, so.
She's not available now.
She's not, no.
Eileen.
So I can give you my opinion really quick here.
Yeah, please.
Based on the fact that this has been brought up, I would suggest that we get another engineer to write the scope of work and put it back out and let the two bid on it properly. There isn't a dollar amount attached to either one of these, so we really don't know that one is cheaper than the other one. One has far more experience in a region, and I think that's important to think about. So I would say that either the county's engineer or the port's engineer may be able to go out and write a new scope of work in a very short amount of time, and we can put it out for bid with a quick turnaround.
I like that idea.
Yeah, my issue is that Anderson Perry on the ground already is doing Boardman's work, already familiar with the port.
And the city very much.
And the city very much. So if there's any,
This close to just having an IGA with them and having them do it, and then their attorneys suggested we.
right, we should have had the port go ahead and.
Well,
I mean, honestly, I would have preferred that to start with because they do have all of the knowledge here on what the connections are, and that it does give them more experience in this particular issue.
Right, I mean, I would have scored them higher on their ability to manage the project.
We
I have
probably
experience
shouldn't-
with two.
we
So
probably shouldn't discuss the substance of any of them.
right.
If they're listening. Sorry.
I'm just saying, just the scoring is the issue. So.
Yeah.
So I'm not comfortable with the alternative per se as the only one, so I guess we need to go back out.
And I would suggest that Nick Ducote is under contract for we have a budget for Nick, and Nick can help write the scope of work. And also he's not the engineer, but GSI. So I don't see Ronan on the call, but
No, he could only hear the first.
Ronan can also help do that. Or the port engineers, if Lisa says they have the time and capacity. I know they have the level of capability. It's just, I know engineering is very busy at the port.
Right.
So someone other than AMP.
So where's the port at, Lisa, for capacity to put this out?
Lisa,
Okay.
you just muted yourself.
Sorry, thank you. I would say we would go to an outside engineer that we contract with to write the scope instead of in-house.
Yeah, and that makes sense, Lisa. And we have a budget and a contract with GSI to help. So if they don't do it directly, they can sub it out.
Yeah.
And they could probably turn that around pretty quickly.
Okay.
So we could have that ready for a September meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So these firms, if they want to apply, they need to reapply.
I would reach out
Okay.
to them.
Yeah.
And I think your open procurement period can be fairly short. Cause they would just have to brush up a few things.
So we don't really need a motion of any kind.
Okay.
We'll just,
I think we just rewind and do it again.
Yeah. Sorry, but not sorry. I don't wanna, we gotta follow the right process. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's fine.
You don't want to go out for bidding later and then have a. issue.
Yeah, yeah. Shorter meeting than we got. And can I also make another suggestion? It might be worth asking us to do our scoring before we get to the meeting next.
Yeah.
And I could do, I mean,
That's fine. This is my first time ever doing.
Yeah,
this,
okay.
So I
Yeah.
was not sure what the process was.
I think you did a really, really good job. There was just a couple little glitches, and I think we should come to the table with scoring. I've only done scoring really in like a subcommittee, not in an open meeting. And maybe another footnote is to ask council, Eileen, about whether or not that should be in closed session or open session. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the city, when we did the project for the sewer and ion, we did that in an executive session of the city council. Did the scoring, because you know, so.
You can do the scoring,
Right, but then they had to announce.
you
the
gotta go
score.
out and make a decision.
Right.
That's
but
right. I was just saying
You can't make a decision, but they did do a discussion and
an
scoring.
executive session.
Exact. And I don't know if that was legal though, of course. How would I know?
Public contracting board, you're a public contractor.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think there's any problem with scoring. I agree with you. It would be best if we all scored.
Is a
Right.
consortium a public contracting board? No.
No.
Yes.
They are.
Well, the contract would be with the consortium.
Right.
We are a public contracting.
Well, I think it'd be nice to score in advance. We all can bring our score.
I think so.
That's the simple answer.
But if,
It can be public.
maybe just check in with Eileen to see what she recommends.
I will.
I mean, I don't have heartburn either way. I just want to make sure we do it properly.
I was
And we
working with
can-
Eileen on a lot of things on
Yeah.
today's agenda, but this was,
No, I,
we brushed to this one. That's all we did on this.
Yep. No, I think, and it was a lot of effort, and apologies that you have to do it again.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. All right.
I guess my question to Jared is, do you think the two applicants for their sake and legal and stuff, we should have a motion to direct you what to do? Or
That's
is
a good idea.
consensus good enough for you?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt for us to have a motion directing me what to do.
Okay. Do you, I could try, I'll make a motion to, put a hold on the review of these two proposals and to go, to develop a scope of work and an RFP with an independent third party, either the port or with GSI. Repost the procurement with whatever timeframe you need, and then bring the proposals back for our September agenda.
September might be tricky, but by the next
I'd say-
closest agenda.
Sure, or,
Yeah.
yep, September, October, whatever works.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Further discussion on it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried. Okay. Next up is F. Resolution 2026-05, amending bylaws regarding advisory board. Jared.
Yeah, this is just, we talked about this a couple months ago. This is just the updated language that you guys all agreed to. So now this is the completed resolution that updates our bylaws around the advisory, our advisory board. More specifically, we talked about the language of in or out of city. And so that's what we changed. So
I'm looking at page 130 of the packet. Is that the language?
Yep. This is the language you guys approved without the resolution that when we wordsmithed it last time. And then you asked me to just go clean it up and bring it back. So.
And the objective was making it so.
Prior to this, our advisory board, the language said that they they said they had to reside outside of city limits. But the reality is big portions of our appointed board members live in the city, so and it's just tougher sometimes recruiting people who are outside, or we didn't want to make that as a condition, so we put the preference will be given to residents living in unincorporated areas.
Got it.
So that was really the language change.
Okay.
And yeah, and then we had talked about once we have this, and we had the kind of job description that goes with it.
Yeah.
Then we can talk about just the next steps, but this was the first step to that, so.
Got it.
Thanks for putting this together. And Eileen did take a look at this.
Yes,
Okay.
this was ready, for our last meeting, but we did an abbreviated agenda in our last meeting, so.
All right. I'll make a motion that we approve the amended language as presented.
Got a second?
Jerry's nodding his head. Does that count?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Second.
that counts. That counts.
Okay.
It's been moved and head nodded that,
Yeah.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Was that a head nod on the aye too?
Aye.
No, I think.
I said aye.
Okay, just checking.
Head nodded.
Okay. It might set a precedent and then everybody can head nod for everything. Okay, where are we at? G, update on contaminated wells within the city limits. Jared.
Okay, so this again stems from, you asked me to collect information about, we had a request from an in-city resident in Boardman. Well, it was around Herrera Park, and if there were ways that we could help him, you asked me to go work with him. Even though it technically kind of falls outside of our mission statement, because our mission statement specifically says unincorporated Morrow County. But you wanted to just know how many properties in Boardman and Oregon have wells, potentially contaminated wells, who are not on city water. So if we were to if the consortium were interested in providing support to them, or had the means, we wanted to know what the financial implication of that might be. So working with both Brandon and Aaron, the city managers there, and they're on our advisory group as well. We determined in Boardman there is just the one. And it was the quoted 22,000 SDC fee that would provide for the 7 units in Boardman. And in Oregon was a little bit more complicated. We have 23 applicable properties, and a varying need to be able to hook to municipal water. So in the memo that's within the packet, you'll see that well, of the 23 properties, all said and done with to hook everything up and to get it to the home where it's needed, and to double check the RP backflow preventions if they choose not to, or if they choose to maintain their wells, those sort of things. The total cost in Oregon would be about $430,000 for 23 individuals. Now, two caveats to this. One thing Aaron didn't do, and we didn't do because it's not like just readily available information. We don't know if the 23 applicable properties actually are contaminated wells.
Yeah, that was my question.
So
Yeah.
all we know that these are individuals with wells who are not in the city, who are not receiving municipal water. We do know in the case of Boardman that it is a contaminated well. Okay. So that's one caveat. The other caveat is we did not look at financial need at any of these individuals. So now, again, whether that's important or not to you guys as a board, this is what you asked for, is how many wells are we looking at potentially as a project. So other questions? Did I get that
I-
right, Aaron, as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a question, and I'd like to direct this to Jerry because he's got a kind of fresh look at this whole thing. Knowing our, our mission statement and the way our IGA, and then hearing this, what's your thoughts on this, Jerry? Change our mission statement, stay outside the city. What do you think about that?
I'm a little conflicted on the idea that they're inside the city limits and aren't hooked to city water. I mean, I understand how it could happen.
Oh, sure. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I can tell you know that.
Yeah, and we could say anecdotally that we know some of them within Oregon would not be able to financially, I mean, we're talking they don't have the means.
They don't have the means.
They would never have the means to be able to do this.
Right.
And the property is such that even selling it wouldn't potentially be worth it financially.
So what's making, is it getting piped to them that's making it so expensive? What is it that's making it so expensive? I mean, to hook to municipal water and you're in the city limits, what is it that is?
Both. It could be where they're located, where you could potentially hook up. It might not be close. They might
Right.
not have the infrastructure already in place.
Again,
Right,
I'm not certain.
okay,
So we're looking at trying to change our code.
okay,
It's been grandfathered, it's been the good old boy.
right,
for
right,
Decades, which was wrong.
right,
Anybody knew we're setting up, as an example, no new wells because that depletes our water data. We're not doing any SDC charge.
oh, I
And the
see,
reason why is because they're already developed. These-
Right.
These are what you would call connections or taps. And what's it gonna cost? That's an estimate. Cost to get from their house, split their well off, put an RIP in, because they get to keep their well. That's a double check. That's required by state law, by the way.
they're allowed to keep their well,
They can.
We're gonna allow them to,
you're allowing them to. Okay.
because they can use it for irrigation.
No, I understand,
We're trying to be the nice guy.
right,
And so there's no SDC charge. We're not charging SDC. We're charging connection fees, which includes wherever it's gotta be located, if it's on the wrong side of the road, that's an issue. And that's using a third party, so we're not gonna do it.
okay,
And then what is it gonna cost? They have a plumbing/contractor go in and connect to the meter and all that. So if you look at that cost divided by 23, there's two of them. I don't know if I put that on, Jared, but there's two, which I just went through the roof, I'll be honest. There's two streets that don't have any water down in. And so I don't think that's in that cost, is it? I don't think it is.
I don't know. I this
don't
is
think
what
it
you
is.
gave me,
I
so.
went, holy moly, how did this get-
Hmm.
This is Lisa. Can I ask a question? Aaron, are all of those residents paying city taxes, and have they been paying city taxes since they've been there?
Yes, they are. That's why there's no SDC.
Yeah,
So there's gotta be a cost, Lisa, to get them connected.
right,
We call it a tap. I mean, you gotta go down to the main line and do a corp stop.
So-
and get up the meter.
so Dave, you asked my opinion on it, my opinion on it is that I still see hundreds of homes that are in the rural area that have well problems and they need clean drinking water. And we're talking about, let's say we do this first project, we put pipes in the ground, everybody hooks up, there's a solution. It's millions of dollars to get that done. And we need to do it then 10 times more, right? Or 20 times more. So I don't think we
Right.
need to be distracted by what's inside the city limits at the moment. I think that maybe down the road, there's a better, maybe there's an opportunity down the road to address it, especially if there's a few people that can't afford it. I think it becomes a question of whether you're getting distracted by a small problem in the big, giant, large problem. And I still think, from my perspective, I showed up here wanting to work on the big problem, trying to get us somewhere where people are getting clean drinking water, and we're doing it at scale, and we're doing it in some way that's cost effective. So I think it's a distraction. I'm not interested in changing from the mission right now of what this consortium has going.
And I would agree with that because we're gonna change the code.
Right.
Council has not agreed it's gonna be within 3 years,
Right.
Or 5 years. We'll just say.
And I'm not saying we should never revisit it. I just don't think it should be on the radar at the moment, I think.
So that's, we're looking, my recommendation is 5 years. If they don't have it done in 5 years, they won't have to bear the cost. Wherever that comes from, after that, it's on them. We're gonna put them on notice.
Okay.
We're not there yet, and we have not seen any hot wells that we're being told. People are not being forced, right? I'll leave that alone. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, for reasons.
With anybody.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So-
Jerry.
So, Chair, I would agree with Jerry, not that it's, we at some point might not want to help them. It's just the highest priority is those people who don't have the option. And if we do move in the future, I think it should be need-based.
Yeah.
So the one in Boardman, you know, the man owns,
Honestly, the city of Boardman is still working with him and they may have found a resolution.
oh, excellent.
So that, I think, I don't know if Brandon's on
Oh, like-
the meeting.
If that's a contaminated well and those are rentals,
That's all I'm gonna
that's
say
an
is I
issue
think
for somebody else to worry about.
Brandon and, yeah, I think, the city and, Herrera Park have come to, well, they've at least proposed something new to him. I don't know what this is, but it would definitely, it's very reasonable.
And I certainly support the city's policy to have an SDC. I mean, that's how you fund those.
Yeah.
I just don't know, I just don't see it as as a high priority now to underwrite someone, especially when it's not a need based.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I'll just, for lack of belaboring this, we do have some grants that we're going after that, and one of our CIPs is based on it's needs based. So the work that we're doing with some of those other larger projects might create a framework that we don't need to build twice.
Right.
It might already create a framework that allows us to then say, oh, this works here, you know what, we can apply it here as well.
Excellent. Okay,
So,
that's even better. Yeah.
Again, it's down the road, but,
Mhm.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
in the works, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's all I got, Dave.
that's good. I like it. I do. Okay, update on the drinking water roundup project, Jared and Tamara.
Yep.
Roadmap.
Just really quick, that we attended their final public meeting just this last week. The final report and recommendations will be released in September. So they were hoping by the end of the month, they just need a couple more weeks or so. So we expect that report. I've seen large portions of it already. And in fact, I've already used it to inform some other conversations that I'm having with other individuals. I will, again, just give my piece of caution for those of you who go to the website and look at anything preliminary. If you look at it early, or even when it does get released, it is a very big picture, large scope. Like what the one example was already given was the Boardman. They looked at 4 different population areas in each of the municipal areas. So Hermiston, Umatilla, Irrigan, and Boardman. And the Boardman one alone has a dollar figure that is astronomical. But it also incorporates about twice as many people that we would have for this specific project that we are considering. That's part of it. And the thing to remember is the further away people are from each other and from a municipal source, the costs are exponential. So that it's hard. He kept getting lots of questions. Poor Ronan was getting lots of questions at the meeting, about well, can't we expect this to be the cost? And he's like, well, no, we're just kind of taking big picture idea and then giving some recommendations for the different layers that are a part of this. So it's very helpful information, but it's why you then move to and get the more detailed engineering reports once you have those ideas. So I just always want to put that piece of caution out there. The numbers associated with this projects are very big numbers.
Okay.
So, but they do encompass the Boardman project encompasses 220 households. in their phased project. And so when you're looking at a 20-40 million price tag, know that that is potentially accurate, but it leaves out a lot of details. So, and where our project is half of that. And not even a fraction of that anticipated cost. So, right.
Yeah, I think you did. I would just add that, what Jared said is correct. It's important also to keep in mind that this is for two counties, Morrow and Umatilla County. And Morrow County is, my observation is way ahead by forming this group and looking even before this roadmap project was released, looking at implementing some solutions. I don't know that Umatilla County will even consider that. They may. I think the powers that be who set up the water consortium should be commended. That was a significant commitment to do that. And, it's not as if there's unlimited funding, but the roadmap project was a research project. And the recommendations are general, but if you go to roadmap.com, drinking water roadmap, you'll see a lot of the technical memos from the past 2.5 years. And it can provide information, I think some good information. The final recommendation, they have what are called cross-cutting actions that some entity would need to consider, like ongoing outreach activities, maybe something like a master plan to track projects and opportunities, look at programmatic funding and programmatic approach to create incentives. And speaking as not as a county official, but I like to remind people that a county has no legal authority to regulate water use. It is really the state's responsibility to regulate water use and water consumption and water rights. And that would be the Water Resources Department, and they have not done that. And it's also the Oregon Health Authority to ensure that people have clean drinking water. And then the DEQ has other more global environmental responsibilities. So I'm hoping that the outcome of this doesn't just point to the local government taking responsibility for all the implementation, because we're talking thousands of acres and lots of miles spread. And the last point that I'll share, and I'll get off my little soapbox, the last couple of years I've attended a regional planning conference, Western Planners, and what I learned from my counterparts in Wyoming and some other states, the state pays to extend municipal water system. So in Wyoming, for example, it's not unheard of that the state's engineer's office funds a 30-mile long project to extend it. And that's not our paradigm. That's not the way things are structured in Oregon. But I think it's important to use that example so we don't have to solve this problem just by us. And, from dating back from 2022, when the drinking water emergency was declared, the state agencies stood up and took notice. OHA, for the first time ever since the 1990 report was released, and they have an ongoing role, but the actual solutions, the boots on the ground to deliver water, the only effort to do that is this group right here. So thanks for listening to my rhetorical observation. And I'm only the project manager for this research project, but it's when it is released, I think that those are some points to keep in mind.
And it'll still provide us lots of detailed, maybe technical information, but things that we could definitely create projects from or inform potential projects from immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
That's right. And we, it's entirely possible for individual landowners to step up and say, hey, I'd like some help. And we have one group, lots of folks here tonight. I don't know that anybody is asking in Umatilla County, asking any entity to help. So again, that federal appropriation was for the two counties to look at opportunities to connect to a municipal system, full stop. We built more into it because that looked like it was not even remotely feasible for large areas of, and a large number of wells that are miles and miles and miles from any municipal system. And so that's why the final recommendation will have other concepts like full systems, some very small systems. So some options other than connecting to a municipality. But it's because a municipality is subject to a lot higher level of regulation to guarantee clean drinking water. That's the reason, that's the nexus the federal government recognized, because the federal government will not provide funding for private property owners.
Right.
So,
Sure.
I don't know if you're taking questions. Can she? So, okay, not right now. Okay. So, yeah, stay tuned. There should be some media and some outreach, but we had the final outreach meeting last Wednesday. Yeah.
I asked, are there corridors planned?
What's a corridor?
A water corridor?
You can't actually ask in our public meeting right now. We could talk, ask me after the meeting and then I can
Yeah,
talk to you about it. Yeah, sorry.
it's all conceptual.
Yep.
And that's Jared said, any specific project would require some significant engineering, just like the engineering proposals that we looked at earlier.
Dave, I think we're ready. We're watching. You're still on.
Whoop, I got muted. Okay, any other questions? Jared attend. Okay, we'll move on to business item 4I, whole home RO system options. Jared has something interesting to tell us.
So I mentioned this briefly in my report, but several months ago, I had a company. Look, I will be honest, I am willing to talk to anybody about finding solutions. I don't care what the solutions are, and I'm willing to talk to anybody about money and funding those solutions. So I had most people would probably just delete the email or the phone call, but I didn't. I said, no, I'll entertain International Pure Water. They reached out to me and said, hey, we see that you have a clean water issue over there in rural Eastern Oregon, and we want to know more about it. And they told me a little about their own company. They focus on, they have projects all over the world and in the country, United States, but you'll notice International Pure Water, a lot of their projects are related to large areas like Africa and South and Central America, where all sorts of different contaminants that they're trying to deal with and to get people drinking water in those different projects. So anyway, I told them our scope and what we needed, and again, I listened and then told them, and they said, "Oh, we've never done that before," because they wanted to tell me all about these other things and contaminants. I'm like, I don't care. It's nitrate that I need to worry about. Now, not that those other things aren't important, but we have a nitrate contamination issue. So until you can, my two conditions, I said, until you can fix high levels of nitrate, and I was asking for a whole home system. I didn't want an under the sink option. I wanted a whole home system so that the people that we are serving can have some peace of mind about all the water in their home. And then I said, and then the last thing, everyone tells me that any RO system is too wasteful to do a whole home system for. And so they said, well, we like the challenge. And they've been working with their engineers for a couple of months now, and they believe they have an option that is, it's new technology, but it would potentially, I don't want to oversell anything, but this is the first time I'm telling you, because they are ready to propose something to us and for us to see, and they're ready to potentially select a couple of places to test this out in, to see if it'll actually work. And so I'm excited about it because, like I said, theoretically, I asked OHA and a few other people if there's any other technology out there that can do this, and everyone said no. Like everyone will say they can, but it's just a water softener system. And once they start talking about parts per million over 20 or 25, it doesn't work. And again, a lot of people are so. They are very optimistic. It is new technology. It is a new idea. I've asked them, with your permission, to present at our next meeting. So we know that, we want municipal system, that there's all these different options that the roadmap has been throwing out there. And we have the concerns that the roadmap project, someone even pointed out, well, can't we just dig more wells? And ODRW was really clear to point out, like, look, digging a deeper well does not promise you clean water. Like you might go down another 100 feet and have clean water for 10 days, and then you might not anymore. And so they were just like, that's not something you can guarantee. Municipal water can guarantee clean water, right? These other projects are about guaranteeing an access to clean water. And this is just a new potential solution. So I was excited to share that with you, and we'll see. Don't want to make any promises, but maybe we've got an individual home by home option that doesn't require digging a new well and gets people clean water at a much smaller rate than the millions of dollars we're talking about. There are some costs associated with it, obviously, but compared to say a municipal system or a larger infrastructure project, these are much smaller initially. So
I'd be interested in seeing a presentation for sure.
yeah.
Did you send it the check?
What?
No.
Yeah. So that's kind of a preview for September with you guys are good for that. So
I'm good with it.
Yeah, me too.
yeah. And they're excited because, like I said, nobody's attempted to do it. And already they've had two other people or groups that have, once they caught wind of this, they're like, well, we want it too. We need it too. One of those is in the Midwest, so who has suffering from similar issues. So
Just a recommendation, have them also add to look at PFAS. So that's gonna come.
it's PFAS is already something they put in their testing.
I'm gonna make it all one system.
Yeah.
Right.
PFAS, as you might know, PFAS are just trickier. There is no industry standard for testing of PFAS. And
Yes.
yes, correct.
Yeah.
But that it's just trickier. PFAS are just trickier right now. And it is a national thing, so. Okay.
PFAS is,
Yeah.
Oh, polyflora, blah, blah, blah.
It's microplastics in water. That's
okay.
That's the new thing.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard of that.
Stuck in your brain.
Yeah,
Okay, I haven't heard that in
I
action.
just drank out of my plastic.
I know. There you go. Hasn't affected you, yeah.
Who knows?
Okay, our last item up is correspondence. Everybody's gotten the letter. It was in our packet, so I'll just throw it out there and see what direction, any direction, no direction, a direction. Any suggestions? Everybody has the information. So going once, going twice.
David, if we could pause for just a second. I'm not sure, I see the petition with the terms. So, I'm not sure what the specific ask is, and that's my first question. I see the terms, so if we were to negotiate with the Westland United, those are their bargaining terms. But what would I'm not sure what a next step would be.
Well, the only ask that I see in the letter applicable to this consortium would be the request to move our meeting from 6 days.
And I did say that, yeah, I think, yeah.
Anything else is not, even a lot of the things in the petition itself are not applicable to, we're worried about getting people clean water, not why it's dirty. And some of the other things in here, it's about getting people clean water, so.
So is this the time you've been normally having these meetings that bounced around different times a day?
Originally, it was 6 to 8, and then we moved it from 4 to 6. The first couple of meetings, we had people participate, and then we didn't really have many other than the consortium members, so then we moved it from 4 to 6. I don't have any problem moving it back again from 6 to 8 if we can get more people attending.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, we have some of our advisory people, Isabel.
I agree with that, you know, if it's worth it and people are gonna show up, I don't see a problem with having a meeting at 6, but if it's just gonna be us.
Let's get it over with and get on with our evening.
I agree with 6 o'clock too, because then we can conflict with people who are.
Well, the more people that hear whatever gets discussed, the truth gets out instead of whatever everybody imagines happened. So, you know, whether you like the truth or not, you at least would hear it. And I feel like the more the merrier on hearing it. So I'd be fine with us moving to 6 if others are in agreement.
Have we reached out, Jared, to the other advisory, Isabel and I are usually here, but I don't know if there's any other advisory board.
When this-
Here tonight.
Yep, so when we first started discussing moving the meetings from 6 PM to 4 PM, I sent out a survey to all of the advisory board members. And all of the replies that I received did say that they preferred 4 PM. I didn't receive replies from them.
And I know Anna Maria got a new job, because at the time, she, I think, was not working. And I think now she works in Hermiston, I think she gets off at 5.
Oh, so maybe 6 she could have.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be better for her.
Maybe it would be good to reach back out to the advisory board member.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was wondering, is there a work from this committee to find out if they're still interested in being active members, or if we need to find replacement?
That'll be on the agenda next. I presented something a couple weeks ago, or a couple meetings ago, around roles and responsibilities of the advisory. I did not put it on this meeting because we just had a long meeting already.
Yeah.
So once we approved the language changes for who's on it, now we're gonna talk about what the roles and responsibilities are. I think just to help bring clarification to what you are doing on the advisory committee and how you can help us. So.
In terms of changing the time, like, I'm suggesting that advisory board, people that are on it have some input. It's maybe why they're not here at noon.
Okay, yeah. So do we want to make a decision? I guess that's my question, of moving the meeting to 6 to 8 for next time, or do pending a survey with the existing advisory group? I don't know.
Or maybe, or maybe after the next one, if we need to talk about adding more people to the advisory committee. Or,
It's a good idea.
because if the people that we have now, if they don't wanna come, or they don't wanna be a part of the group anymore, then maybe we need to fill some spots.
So I think that's super valuable. If somebody, Valerie or Jared, could send out a survey again and say, you know, we've had this discussion again about how to increase participation. If the rest of everyone agrees, you know, for September, we'll meet at 6. We're hoping that increases opportunity for participation, and just solicit from the advisory committee if they want to continue. And if not, if that's okay, there are probably other people we can get to participate.
Sure.
I'd like to make another suggestion also. If you just look at your agenda, hypothetically, under number 4 of the business items, if you look at G, H, and I, created another one. They're not really business items, and intercommunication, so that you can put energy behind them, so that people know. Otherwise, right now, you're just going through a whole bunch of business items.
Right.
I think if there was an avenue, I don't know, we have to look at an agenda, you want to call it a work session or something, so that you can. What happens in every organization, you get business items and you're gonna check them off and you're moving through them. Okay? But if there was a half an hour that's a work session, what kind of items would go in that and communication? Those G, H, and I are that, because it's updates, it's a process, and you use concerted effort, because that's the biggest thing. We know what the mission is to clean, provide clean drinking water. But what are some of those options, just as Jared brought up? We've already moved on from that, now we got a question. Where should that fit on what is a whole house thing? What about what Tamara and Jared brought up about the roadmap project of that? I think there's people that have some questions on it. I'm just throwing that out there, otherwise business items or even consent, they just.
So maybe structure part of the meeting so that it's more outreach and communication. And these could get to be pretty long meetings, so I think your comments are valid. But for the roadmap project, just last week, we did lots of outreach, press release, direct mailings. It was the biggest turnout. And we probably had 30 people and 20 of those were agency people. I mean, if you looked at people who were just well owners who aren't part of the project, maybe 10.
Well, and then even probably 5 of the non-agency personnel were people who lived in city and had nothing to do with, they didn't have wells, so it actually didn't apply to them, but
They were
right now, water is in the news and things about the Amazon settlement that has been in the news and things about other things brought people out because they heard it was a water meeting, even though in our conversations with them, they're like, oh, well, this doesn't actually apply.
So, I mean, we could think about structuring this meeting so that it's not just business and checking items off. And granted, allowing people 3 minutes is pretty cumbersome. And they might want to comment on some of these items that are less black and white, really more exclusively, if you will, the role of the consortium members, but updates, like for example, update on the roadmap project or the whole home RO system. Maybe we budget some time so we allow the public to ask questions about that, because they're living out in those areas as well. So it's less business itemy to be very technical.
Just to stick that.
Yeah, I think it's a good thought. Because we don't want to preclude involvement. We also just don't want to be here.
Yeah, it just
People
needs to
need
be
to stay
orderly.
employed.
It needs to be orderly enough that we can roll on through everything and.
Well, the other suggestion is that we have an advisory.
Right, you do have an advisory.
But we never, I just kind of interject sometimes, but we never get to talk. We never even talk to each other, so.
Have you had meetings in it all?
They've just, that's why I'm creating some job description and what it would actually look like.
But if there was a half an hour after the meeting for the advisory committee to just.
Oh, that's a
discuss
good
stuff
idea.
Together, right?
Right,
And then we can come back to work with some things that
Would be helpful.
it's not going to our organization of the advisory. Maybe that's the reason why some advisory board aren't coming, because they're not feeling needed.
Okay.
That's a really valid point. And I think the idea of the advisory committee was that those committee members they live out in the community, they would communicate with the public and they represent the public, right? Sort of proxy. And so having an advisory committee after this meeting, if people are willing to do that, because we're asking a lot.
Well,
that
right now,
might be an option.
Or before.
I think right now, my understanding is that our advisory, you are welcome around the table and can participate in all conversation that the board is having. You just don't get to vote.
Right.
So the fact that you have sat yourself over there, Debbie, that's on you. No, I'm kidding. No, but you are a participant.
And-
That's why, Aaron, we allow Aaron, just so everybody else knows, Aaron can make comments because he is an appointed member
Right,
of the
and so-
advisory. But other members who are here, it just looks confusing because he's sitting over there and not at the table.
The wall's right here.
Yeah, no, it's fine, but.
It's
but-
good. I'm glad you made that clarification.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, we're not intentionally excluding anybody. The only people who can technically speak in the meeting are advisory board members.
And you're saying you're gonna have some clarity around this by the next meeting?
Yep,
Yeah.
that way you guys can discuss.
So Dave, were you all right with moving to 6 o'clock? I'm okay with it, if we think that'll improve the process.
I'm always for improving the process, but I remember we were at 6 and it looked just like it does now. If I
You
remember,
didn't have a different turnout?
huh?
You
Yeah,
didn't have a different turnout?
We've had better turnout with the 4 PM.
You've had better now?
Yeah.
This is the best turnout we've had.
Well,
by
and
the
then
way.
just historically, we've had more online attendance with
Uh-huh.
the 4 PM versus the 6 PM.
Okay,
But outreach and communication is something I think we should not think about once in a while and then put it off. I think we should think about it all the time. Because
Right.
you know how it is out there, just like somebody just said. If you don't get the story out, somebody else is going to get it out and it's not going to be correct. So I think it's something. Well, and my thought too is like Tamara talked about the roadmap. I remember when Ronan would come on and when it first came out, and most of us know it. We've read it, we know it, we're familiar with it, but why not give a little update on, just get a little boring with us, but let the public know again what it is, see? And it doesn't have to take up a lot of time, but just keep in mind the public doesn't pay as much attention to this as we do. And so anyway, that's my thought.
So do we need a motion to move the meeting to 6 or not? Do we need a motion to move the meeting to 6 or just agree that we'll have the meeting at 6 next in September?
I think just a consensus, but
yeah, I was gonna say, let's do it at 6 and see what it looks like and make up our mind then whether that really makes sense.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
yeah, since we're wrapping up the very end, and I appreciate you clarifying that. If somebody wants to be on the advisory committee and they're not on the advisory committee, please contact Jared. That's your way of having your voices heard. So this letter from Westland United, they don't feel included in the process. They have some things, that would be your opportunity to either request to be on the advisory committee, we could consider expanding it, or talk to one of the advisory committee members.
I am willing to talk to anybody.
That's right,
So-
that's right, that's exactly,
I will
yeah.
repeat that over and over again. So
Mhm.
if you want to talk to me, I'm happy to come visit you in your home and talk. So
Okay.
thing I might add on that too, Jared, and then all of us is maybe we know people who talk to us about this outside these meetings, around town, wherever, and maybe we should ask them because they've shown some interest rather than try to use our thoughts on guessing who would be good and go for the ones who are interested. But yeah, I don't know if there's anybody approaches board members and talks about it, or Jared, that maybe they're good candidates.
nobody's approached me, but we've
Yeah.
now just put it out there. So
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have direction, right, Jared?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, that concludes our business. Next up, we're gonna. Do you guys want a short break before the executive session, or do you want to jump right into it?
I'm good. But what do you think? Do you need a break?
I don't need a break. I got my water.
Quick question, for the public. Are they gonna come back and make a decision or not?
There's no decision. This
No
is
decision.
just
The
a
public needs to be aware of that.
advisory.
Yeah.
So
Decision.
Okay, we'll just go right into it then. Is what I heard. Okay. The board will now meet in executive session under ORS 192-66023F. The Morrow County Clean Water Consortium Board will meet in executive session to
Hey,
consider.
Dave,
Huh?
are we allowed to keep our advisors in this meeting? Or no?
I just said if anybody's interested in contacting.
You know, we haven't held an executive session before that I remember.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
But when we were considering a hiring.
That's how we got
I'm gonna go to a bond meeting.
You don't have to say if you don't want to. Except the board members, they have to.
And then I will be moving everybody to the waiting room who is not a member of the consortium or.
Hey, Jared? Hey, Jared?
Just a second.
Jared, when we're talking about loud, I think, and I mean, no, I know with the Board of Commissioners, we can invite anybody we want in there, you know.
Okay.
So if we want to invite our advisory people, we invite them in. Yeah.
They're not protected, you guys are.
That is true. You can come if you'd like, but you couldn't discuss what we're gonna talk about.
Please stay if you're interested. I don't even know what the topic is, but I am.
David, this
Dave,
is
can I-
Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why, this is Lisa. Why don't we just adjourn our regular meeting? If we're not taking any action afterwards, why don't we just adjourn it?
Yeah, then you can just have the executive session.
And then
We don't have to hold a bunch of
Sure,
people
I'm
in
leaving.
a waiting
I'm going to
room.
Australia.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
So just,
So this guy, I need to contact this guy.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't get Lisa, what exactly, you want to adjourn it now or?
Yeah, long way to go.
There's no reason not to adjourn the public session now and not have to hold people in a waiting room to wait for that to be done if we're not taking any action. There's a lot of talking in the room and I can't
You're gonna
hear.
adjourn?
Sorry.
Yes.
Gotcha, okay, all right.
Yeah, but we're not gonna make a decision and
That's fine.
Which is.
All right, so is the meeting adjourned?
Okay,
Remember what your name is? Yeah.
And it's put on to you guys.
okay, hey, we're still in open session, we're still in open meeting with all our discussions here.
Line and share the contact.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I'm only willing to talk to anybody. So. Hey,
Are we
Dave,
on-
we
Are
do need
we
a
on hot
recess.
mic and recording? We're still in
Yeah.
open meeting here. Okay,
Can we recess?
yes. Well,
Okay.
or
Just have some
adjourn,
people
it
with
was
questions.
suggested, okay. I call a 5-minute
Sorry.
recess. I call it a
Okay.
5-minute recess.
There we go. Okay.
1 second.
Yeah, just about.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we're back from the 5-minute recess. And if there's any other business to come before the commission, the board, if not, we are adjourned. Thank you for coming, everyone.